Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. It has been a little bit since Shayne and I have recorded this way because we were in. I'm looking for Shayne right now. Where are you, man?
I'm right here.
You are right there. You are right there. This show is going to be thrown together super randomly, super fast, folks, because I'm on my way to the Steve Dangle podcast live recording in St. Catharines, and Shayne Gaumond is always on the ready to do a show anytime, anywhere with the Sick podcast. And we're trying to do this. This has been a week-long adventure trying to put this together because I've worked so many hours since the day I got back from Montreal, Shayne, that like my head's still spinning. So it's been tough to be a Montreal content creator and not be able to create. It's been hard. Start of training camp, buddy. We saw the prospect showdown. Training camp has started. Demidov has already started to pop off. Fans are pretty excited. Things are rolling through camp. There's so much to talk about, and we're going to try to confine everything into one little episode for our lovely viewers out there who we had the pleasure of meeting some of them, Shayne, in Montreal.
Yes.
That was cool. That was a lot of fun.
We sat next to one. Shout out. His name slips me, man, but he was a great dude. I had a great chat with him. And that was just like an awesome coincidence, right? You sit down and, I sat down. He's like, hey, you're producer Shayne. How about that? Oh, Drew Deeks. How about that? Like,
it was so cool.
Man. It's nice. It's nice. Yeah.
It was such a humbling thing because like he grabbed my head. He's like, big fan. I'm like, I think that's the first time I've ever heard that. Like, no one's ever said that to me in my life, So I'm looking at my comments on YouTube right now, and he did respond. So I want to give him a shout out because I did respond, and I want to see where that comment is. Here it is. So it's from Chuck. I think his name is Chuck because I see it here now. And he's like, I'm the guy who was sitting right next to you and Shayne. It was a blast. Really happy to meet you guys in person. Keep up the great work on the channels and the podcast. You guys are great. Well, thank you to Chuck for that, because we certainly were humbled and touched by that. And we had a few other viewers come by and say hello to throughout the concourse at the Bell Center. And maybe very quickly, Shayne, we'll just quickly touch on the fact that we got to see the prospect show. A lot of thoughts came in from fans over the internet on those two games, and some of them were pretty harsh on some players. So not a lot of people liked the fact that I was praising Philip Machar in the first prospect game, which is fine. That's fine with me. I'm a Philip Machar fan. You and I both have this connection to Phil. We bumped into him a couple years ago at Slav and Gooley and Jack Eye's first NHL game. And that was the night we beat the Leafs, of course, in the Bell Center. I met with Amanda Suzuki, Nick's mom, in between intermissions as well. So that was we have got a connection to Phil. So I just want to talk to you about not just the fact that Lane Hutson stole the show, and we did do our post game videos and everything, but I think the harshest criticism that was unwarranted was on David Reinbacher. I think
I didn't get that one. I didn't get that one. Like, are they expecting prime Cale Makar? Like, I get that both were selected 5th overall, but relax. You know what I mean? Like, when he was picked, we knew what kind of player he was going to be, and so far he is exactly that, right? A steady, reliable defenseman. And guess what you need to win? Steady, reliable defenseman. Okay.
Yes.
I really, it doesn't make sense in my mind. Look, the proof is in the video, right? Before the draft, you and I were pushing hard for Ryan Leonard. We were pushing hard for Matvei Michkov. We wanted a forward. We didn't really push hard for Reinbacher because we thought we needed a forward. Kent Hughes thought otherwise. We trust Kent. We trust Kent. I know I do. I think I can speak for yourself as well.
We've learned to do that more.
Exactly. Last year, David Reinbacher had the most unfortunate season you could think of, injury aside, right? He had 3 different coaches in Cloton, a garbage team, right? He had no players on his team at his level. He could not develop, right? Give him a year in Laval and then change your opinion, because he will change your opinion. I'm a believer in David. I've seen flashes. He is the type of defenseman that you need on your blue line if you hope to win the Stanley Cup one day. Point blank. That's it. Like, we need this guy to develop, and I know that he will, because we have the staff for it.
Like, he had a couple of flubs in those prospect games, but nothing to the point where I was like, oh man, what did we do? Like, I had somebody comment who said, I just wanted to see something that reminded me why we took him 5th overall. And I thought maybe it's also what you don't see, and that's all the development stuff going on behind the scenes naturally. But these prospect games were a bit of a revealer for some things, but I think, again, it's still exhibition. But I will say these guys were competing hard. Logan Mailloux looked great in that second game, that huge tying goal at the end of the game, and sticking up for Lane Hutson when he got rocked on that one hit. But I think with Reinbacher, what I actually I liked him on the power play. Like, I was surprised. Like, the way the Habs power play was maneuvering, like, the defensemen weren't just staying on the point. Like, I noticed Lane going down to the half wall. I noticed Reinbacher going down to the half wall. I noticed a lot of mobility from the forwards and the defensemen. And Reinbacher was moving the puck pretty nicely, pretty seamlessly. I think he could be on the second power play unit in the future for the Canadiens. Like, there's more offensive upside to his game than we really give him credit for at this point in his development.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that he trusts his shot a bit more.
Yeah, he didn't
right
shoot
now
it
he's
enough. I will say that.
Exactly. That's one thing that I'd like to see more of. He's got a great stretch pass, right? He's got good vision. We know this, right? I'd like to see him use his shot because he's got a good shot. Like, big frame. He's what, 6'3", right? 200 something pounds. Like, he can wire that thing. So I would like to see more of that on his end. But again, his main responsibility is to be trustworthy, right? You get the tap by the coach, you know that he's going to do something good, right? He's not going to cost you anything. He's going to clear the zone. He's going to create some offense, right? He's no Lane Hutson. He's not going to walk the blue line and have a highlight reel shift every time he's on the ice. But that's not what he's there for, right? He's there to be a good complement and to be a trustworthy defenseman. And like, listen, you look at the Florida Panthers, reigning Stanley Cup champions, right? They did not have an unreliable defenseman. They had many, and that's why they're Stanley Cup champions. Vegas Golden Knights, same thing. It's the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding, Drew. Like, trust the process. Trust it. Come on. Made the wrong pick. He hasn't played a single NHL game yet. Relax. Good Lord.
Preaching to the choir. I need the Lord to get me through the comments I read. It's just funny though, because that's what the internet allows, is the immediate overreactions. Some of which are, okay, you got a bit of an argument there, you got a bit of a point, but it's so early. I mean, like, Stu Cowan just talked to you about this last night on the Sick podcast, and I thought you did a fantastic job, by the way, with Stu.
Thank you.
But I just want to say, like, when Stu talked about Philip Machar and how he's 20 years old, Slavkovsky's 20 years old. Slavkovsky is a different player altogether. We see what's happening with him. We expect it. It's there. With Machar, by the time he's 23, like, Stu is saying in 3 years from now, he'll be ready for the NHL. That's okay. Thomas Plekanec took how long to become a Montreal Canadian? He spent 3 seasons in Laval or in Hamilton. Yeah, 3 seasons, Shane. So every development path is different. Even in game 2, folks were like, okay, I noticed Machar a bit more. And he's a playmaker. He's a smart player. I'm not going to go praising him too much more because fans will just, just turn off the channel and unsubscribe. But no, but I just think that there's a lot more to be had there. One thing that was really fun was to watch Lane Hutson basically like stick handle between his toes and have 3 guys on him, and you're just laughing. Shane's just laughing. Like, that was pretty fun to watch.
Look, I've never seen anything like it. Coming from a defenseman to have that kind of confidence, that kind of ability to make the opposition look silly. Like, he didn't just, dominate. He made them look silly. And I understand this is a prospect game, right? He's not doing this. Actually, let me take that back. He did do that against the Detroit Red Wings. 2 games.
Yeah.
Small sample size, I'll admit. Only 2 games. But he did do that at the NHL level, right? The tape is there. The tape don't lie. So he has found a way to adapt his style of game, his unique style of game at every level. You cannot convince me that he's not going to be able to adapt to the NHL. You cannot. He will not only adapt, he will thrive. I will put my money on that. He will thrive.
So, yeah, it's pretty much I shouldn't say consensus. Nobody can be given anything. That's why you guys also mentioned about Justin Barron and how important this training camp is for him, right? Like, he's still got to earn it. and he can't go through waivers. He's going to get claimed, right? So this week at training camp, and you know, we'll finish training camp and then we'll get to Demidov in a second. And like, just so much happened this week. I feel like it was just like boom, boom, golf tournament, you know, and then training camp, prospect showdown, Demidov's popping off.
Yep.
Like, you know, Gouli has his appendix taken out, which was, you know, I hope that freaking happens, gets resolved sooner or later. Right. So there was a lot happening this week, man. And it was so hard to not be able to jump on here and just talk about everything. So that's why I'm here with you. And I'm so glad to be able to do that. But training camp, you know, is only in its third day today. I didn't even realize the guys were going to be like skating today. It's Saturday. So I didn't think they would be at the CN Sports Complex, but sure enough, they were. And, you know, a lot of players trying to make an impression, trying to make themselves a roster spot. But at this point, with the whole Patrik Laine acquisition, you know, they had a bit of a, like Stu mentioned, a disappointing practice with Kirby Dach and Alex Newhook playing together for the first time. But I love how Marty his approaches to it, being so going to be patient with them. So what do you make of? And also that's what I wanted to mention too, is that this week also the Crave documentary came out.
I'm in it.
What?
I'm in it.
So did you? I saw you in the golf tournament image. Is that the part you're in, or are you in something else?
Yeah, I'm in the golf tournament.
Because I did see you then. Okay.
So at one point you see my backpack. I noticed that because I know what my backpack looks like, and at one point you see my arm. But yeah, you do see my face from afar on like one frame when they're on Jeff Molson there. So
nice.
Mom, I'm on TV.
And you know she's just beaming ear to ear, proud of you.
Yeah.
So was I. I sent you the picture of you in the scrum last year at the golf tournament. I was just beaming with pride. I know I'm jumping all over the place, guys. Like I said, this is going to be a bit scrambled of an episode. Shayne and I have been trying to do this all week, but yeah, I only watched episode 1 and like the first 10-15 minutes of episode 2 of the Crave series. Like that's a whole other thing we could just do shows on, us talking about it. But it's awesome, man. It brings back those 24CH vibes, and in a newer, cleaner way. Like they're presenting it pretty well. I will say that it looks pretty darn sharp without giving away too much.
And I like that it's unfiltered. You know what I mean?
I was surprised.
They edited, right? But
yeah,
it's unfiltered. Like in episode 2, I don't know if you got to that part yet, but I don't know who it is. Maybe it's not a random fan, but I don't know. So this guy comes up to Jeff Molson and says, "Your pregame presentation with like the player introduction was the worst I've ever seen." Like they kept that in the show. That's just so funny, man. But like, come on, the audacity to say that. Relax, guy. Like it's not that serious.
It's just interesting though, because they will give every fan's opinion a voice, right? Like they understand how high the bar is for Montreal. Yeah. So I understand that, because like last couple home openers, the one that we were at, I wasn't disappointed because it was pretty well done. Carey came out, and you know it was a special night, and then we won that game with 17 seconds ago. Josh Anderson. Who looked okay the other day, getting a breakaway goal, back to breakaway. What did we used to call him? The power horse? We used to call Josh the power horse. Remember? It's like, what happened to that? You know? But yeah, the Crave series is looking really, really cool. I can't wait for them to hopefully keep doing it. And I'm already looking ahead to next year. Like when Demidov gets here, it's like showing that draft, and we've seen the draft video. But all right, so let's quickly transition to Ivan Demidov then, because I know time is limited here. So much happened this week, like I mentioned. So forgive me for being so all over the place, like more than I usually am. But Ivan Demidov scored his first goal last Saturday when we were at the game, or last Sunday, and we were excited about that. It was kind of a gimme goal. He got his own rebound off the post, but then the shot the other day, that lethal laser of a shot, like 5 points in 6 games. All of a sudden, everyone's calming down on Ivan Demidov because we expected this from him, right?
My goodness, we haven't talked since the draft. We haven't even.
I haven't even talked about the draft.
I know we haven't even talked about the draft. Like, it's
crazy,
man. It's crazy. I mean, you remember when we were doing our shows pre-draft, and I was kind of previewing. Okay, like these 8 guys are targets, and I started with Demidov. I'm like, look. That's a pipe dream. He's not going to be available, but if he is, you got to do it, right? Oh, baby. Silencio. Come on. I was freaking out. I was on the floor of the Sphere having the time of my life. That night was amazing, by the way. Shout out to the sick team. Shout out to Jimmy Murphy, who lent me his credentials. Okay. It was not my face on the pass, but they let me in anyways. Listen, it was just amazing. But I see number 2 pick come up. I'm like, okay, this is where the draft starts, right? I hear Levshinov. Yes! Okay. One down, 2 to go. I hear Anaheim come up. Seneca. Whoa! Okay, that made Grant look really good. So I'm happy about that. Seneca's a good player, but hey, Ivan's still around. Okay. 1 to go. Columbus goes up. Caden Lindstrom. Oh, he's there. He's there. But then again, like I had maybe a smidge of doubt. I'm like, this is too good to be true. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason he's fallen to 5.
Yeah.
Damn it. Céline Dion comes out of nowhere like the Undertaker. Ivan Demidov. She dragged that thing out, and I'm glad she did because that was cinema.
She played that like a fiddle.
That was awesome. It was electric. The crowd was louder than when Celebrini got drafted, when Trevor Connolly got drafted, right? The Vegas crowd. It was louder when Céline got announced. Like that was just an unbelievable moment. I could not believe it. Right, the media floor, no one's celebrating, no one's, and then you just hear me go, yeah! Like everyone around me kind of turn around, like, who is this kid? Like, why is he yelling like that? But I couldn't contain myself. I was just through the moon. And then later on, Michael Hage, are you kidding me? I had him going in the teens. We got him at 21. What a joke, that night. June 28th, 2024. I might as well get it tattooed because that, I'll say something here, Drew. That is the night that the rebuild was over. I'll say it. I'll say that. That was the night that the rebuild is over. They turn a page here, right? They turn a page where they're done kind of filling the depth chart, right? That is a rebuild. You fill up the depth chart, you get different types of players. And that's what they did. The next page here, the next chapter is improvement. Constant improvement of the players that you have and improvement of the roster. So players that don't develop or what have you, you add to that, but you have your core. You have it. It's there. Mm-hmm. The rebuild is over.
Big statement from Shayne Gaumond of the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, man, I remembered exactly what you said on one of the episodes and I wanted to clip it. I just wish I had more time. I need to like hire someone to help me out here. But I remember when we did a show in the summer or pre-summer, whenever it was. And you were like, if Demidov's available at 5, you run to that podium. And it was like, I don't know how fast they ran, but it happened, dude. It really happened.
You saw in that little YouTube video they did that they were pretty happy about it. you saw at the table, they're like, oh, we actually got him. Like, wow, okay. Like this is a franchise changing player. Yeah, you know what I mean? This is, statistically speaking, I'm not exaggerating here. Statistically speaking, the best prospect to come out of Russia since Alex Ovechkin. Now, again, there's been some elite players to come out of Russia since then, right? Kucherov, Panarin, Kaprizov, you can name him, right? He's going to be in that mix. A few years down the road when we talk about those elite Russian prospects that come out, right? You're gonna add Michkov to the mix. I know Grant's not a big fan, but I still believe in him. I think he's going to be elite. And you're going to add Demidov to the mix, man. He is going to change everything. Trust me.
I think I do. But okay, Kucherov is a superstar. And that's where somebody did comment the last time you said that was the episode when we were saying like you run to the stage if he's available 5, which he was. I saw your eyes there. And but that's a big statement to say, like, you think he could be better than Kucherov and Kaprizov. Like, you think he's the best since Ovechkin. That's a big statement too. Those are two bombshells.
the best prospect come out of Russia. Now,
right.
You compare them at the same age, same league. Demidov was better than Kucherov. I'm not saying that he's going to be better than Kucherov. Kucherov is putting up 130 season points like it's nothing. The guy is a superstar, like you say. Not many players on his level, right? I'm not saying Demidov is going to get to that point. That is a very bold claim. I am saying he will be in the elite, though. Absolutely.
Yeah.
However many people you want to put in that category, he's going to be in it.
Right. I mean, hey, that's mind blowing. I almost like lost my train of thought. I'm like, yep, that was good. We needed to get that out of you because frankly, it's been too long to hear your draft story. And I'm sure there's more to it, but man, that was a night. And you know what? This is what I was going to say. My thought came back to me here. In less than 60 days, I've been able to say twice now, I can't believe we got him. First one was Demidov. Second one was Patrik Laine.
Mm.
I know that Laine is a reclamation project and he's got to kind of start over almost in a way, but we've seen the tools. We've seen him in practice. We know it's a God-given talent. He just has to, work on it again, right? You just got to bring it back out, and Marty will do his darndest to make that happen. But it's twice now this year within a 60-day period where I go, I can't believe we got him. Mm-hmm. Twice. Mostly with Demidov. That was the bigger surprise because it was a draft and not a trade, right? But that's twice now. And they're both players that are going to potentially help this rebuild along to the point of bringing home number 25.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, Patrik Laine, right? I remember in 2016, before that draft, there was a genuine discussion, right? Laine or Matthews? Our very own Grant McCagg was on the Laine train. He preferred Laine over Matthews. And look, hindsight is 2020. Okay, Matthews is obviously in elite company, right? Top 5, in my opinion. He is a good player. No matter who you cheer for, you have to admit it. But
now, is he a good captain? That's the next question. But we'll get
that's a different team. But the fact remains that at the same age, those two players were comparable. There was a genuine argument. Which one do you take first? So if Laine can just get back to that, or even 3/4 of that, you know what I mean? Like, that is elite level hockey right there. You know what I mean? I forget the stats. I know Tony put it up when we got Laine there, but he's 4th all time in goals scored as a teenager in NHL history. You know what I mean? That's absurd. That is absurd. And you think about the players that he's played with in his NHL career so far, the teams that he's been on. I don't want to be rude here, but he's not been the luckiest guy. Okay. He's played with a few elite players, but not that many. You come in on a team that is full of young talent. Man, this guy's going to thrive. This is the perfect spot for him. You know what I mean? And you can see that he's bought in too. He wants to be here. And I don't know if it's just a rumor or if there's some truth to it, but apparently there was a deal in place for him to go to Minnesota. And he said no. He said he wants to go to Montreal. To have a guy to say, I want to be here. It's huge. Huge. Because you can trade players. You can bring them in, right? They don't really have a say in it most of the time. And they might not want to be here. This guy wants to be in Montreal. He wants to be a Hab. That's going to make all the difference in the world.
And that's where we introduce to you the Marty St. Louis factor, because it was the thing that sealed the deal to me. And Tony mentioned it too on the show, right? I mean, like, this was and is a real sticking point and a real draw for players to come here now. And this is proof because he didn't have to go to Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
He had another potential deal in place, and Minnesota they popped up in discussions, right? So the Marty St. Louis factor is like, even Stu said this too. I remember a lot of what Stu says. I listened to a lot of his work, because he's amazing. He's been around for a long time. He's covered this
Mhm.
team for a long time, and he's a genuine nice guy. And I just feel like, you know, the Marty St. Louis is like one of the most famous Canadians right now, even though he's not a player. But
Yeah.
he like this guy will, like, we bumped into him at Tim Hortons. You know, I told you I met him a couple times last year and that, but there's something, he's got the spirit. This, like, I know it's like a deep thing to discuss as part of a human being, but like there's the spirit of Marty St. Louis. It's real, man. There's a presence there, and he just has it, and like some people just have it, and he has it, and it's so fun to have him as coach, man. I'm just trying to like soak in every part of this version of the Canadiens, because this is like the most fun team, and we haven't even gotten halfway there yet. We're not even living on a prayer right now. We're not even there yet. So
Look, I've never seen a coach be a selling point to players. Like, oh, come to this team. We have this coach. I've never seen that before. There have been elite coaches in the NHL, and maybe, you know, in the years of I don't know who were some
Scotty Bowman.
Yeah, Scotty. I mean, maybe I wasn't born. I don't know, but I've never seen that. I've never seen, and it's warranted. If I'm, you know, if I put myself in an NHL player's shoes, I want to play for this guy. I absolutely want to play for this guy because he's seen it all and he's done it all. And you hear him talk, right? He has a way of communicating, and that is the number one.
He gets through to guys.
Number
man.
one, yeah, it's the
He
number
gets
one
through to
skill
people.
for
He
a
gets
good
through.
coach. Exactly. And if you're not a good communicator, you're never going to be a good coach. This guy is elite at communicating. And you listen to him. And again, Drew, I'm brought back to the point that he wants to be here. Okay. In the documentary, he says, I could go back to my family. I had a good life before this job.
Yep.
I don't need this. I want this. There it is. There it is.
It's his passion.
That's the difference.
It is the difference. It is, because it's his passion. And that's what oozes out of him, is the passion. That's what gets the players' passion. That's what gets the fans' passion going. You can't put a price on it. Like, passion is a real thing that when people have it, you're attracted to it.
Yeah.
He's attractive. And you know, he's a good looking dude too. I'm sure his wife agrees. And I'm sure the Montreal, the Montreal fan base agrees too. But I mean, this dude honestly has that going for him. So it's just fun to see. And all right, we got to get going here. I got to wrap up because I'm heading to the Steve Dangle podcast recording, and Shayne's got to get going. But folks, we're back at it here, and it's been fun to finally get Shayne on here for an episode after hanging out in Montreal, going to watch the prospect games together, center ice in the Reds for $15. I'll take that any day of the week. We raise money for charity, all for a good cause. The fans were entertained. We were entertained. Hockey's back. We are back. And I'm just happy that, you know, we get to do this again, my friends. So thank you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
And thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, the fans, the viewers who are so encouraging. Every time we do a show, you guys are always encouraging us to do more. It means a lot. We thank you. Leave your comments down below about what you're looking forward to seeing this season from the Habs. Just any thoughts at all, let us know. We know you had some tech glitches here and whatnot, but thank you for watching, you guys. We really do appreciate it every time. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll see you very soon. Thank you.